welcome back to Smooth's Workshop. Terry here. We're continuing on with the series. This is build video number 7 of my Russian T-55A medium tank that I'm putting into the International Scale Modelers from Russia with Love build. Where have we got to? Okay, done quite a lot actually. We're going to be doing some decaling and possibly an oil pin wash in this particular series. What I've done since I last seen you, I'll just take the camera across, I have clear coated everything. So there's my turret, oh nice and shiny. Everything is sitting in there drying away. All the wheels and everything have been clear coated. The body of the tank has been clear coated. It's out of shot at the moment. You might notice I'm working on a Rossi figure at the same time here. The two oil drums, fuel drums, have been coated twice with hairspray. The log, I'm still deciding how I'm going to weather that. The commander figure, again, I think I'm going to do a bit of dry brushing on him. And the anti-aircraft gun, still to get painted, but because it's going a semi-gloss black, the same as what some of the parts of my bike build are going, I will do that at the same time. And the tracks are awaiting another coat of paint. So I'll just come back to my usual position with the camera. Sorry for the lot of wiggling about. Yeah, for clear coating, this is what I used. Yeah, Johnson's Pledge multi-surface wax. It used to be called Clear. It's a floor polish. Yeah. But it self-levels and gives a nice glossy hard wearing coat. Smells really nice and dries really quickly. There are other top coats available. One that I'm trying to get hold of just now is Alclad's Aqua Gloss, but because it's just for decaling and just for the oil pin wash and everything, it's going to suit my purposes here. Now the reason for clear coating over the top of all the matte paints is to seal them in, because I'm going to be using stuff on it that might dissolve or disturb the layer of paint underneath. Oh, and whilst I was on about the drums being hairsprayed, just a couple of coats of, that was £1 for Superdrug. There are other hairsprays and other places that you can get them from, but that's what I used, and I just sprayed it directly out the tin onto the barrels. Okay, right, so everything has been sprayed. It's actually, that stuff starts drying in about 20-30 minutes. It's actually had excuse me, it's actually had a good nearly 2 hours to dry now. Now the reason for clear coating, I'm going to be using some chemicals here to help with the adhesion of my decals, and one of them is this one. It's Microset. Now this you place on whatever you're going to put the decal on, and it helps with adhesion, and when the decal goes on it, it's also used for softening. And if you use too much, you can actually take the decal off with it. That's the initial one, which we'll use to put the decal on with, and we'll see how it settles in to the shape of the tank. Let that go off, see how it's conforming. If it's not looking that great, then we go in with this stuff, and this is a Microsol. Now this is a solvent, and you basically put that on top of the decal, and it lets the softens the decal and allows it to conform to the surface or irregular surface that the decal is going on, and makes it more of a painted on look. Now both of these contain, as part of their ingredients, isopropyl alcohol, and because most acrylic paints that I'm using are isopropyl alcohol, get my teeth in, isopropyl alcohol based, if you don't clear coat it, then the decal solution reacts with the paint underneath and you get a really untidy effect. So that's the reason for clear coating. And then we're going to go into the decals. Now some of the tools I've got out ready for my decals, I've got Tamiya decal scissors for cutting them out. I have the decals, which come in a little plastic bag, protected by like a little piece of greaseproof paper, and all the decals for the numerous different variants are sitting on the sheet. I'm going to be using decals 826. There's only 4 decals, so it's this one, that one, and 2 smaller ones. So that's the decals. I've also got a pair of tweezers for putting the decals in and out the water. I've got a small brush for using with the setting solutions, a couple of cotton buds, a little tub that I could put the water in for the decals, and some good old fashioned tap water. Warm water's best, but that's basically it. Okay, so what am I going to do next? I'm going to consult my instructions. I'll just pull the lamp across so you can maybe get a better look at this. Okay, I may have discussed I'm doing variant B from the Soviet Army, so it details one decal on the left side of the turret, 826, just under that handle there and under that hook, and on the other side, this is why I left the snorkel tube off, the other one goes under that grab handle, but the round dot part I believe will actually sit over the hole that the snorkel tube goes into, and that's why I'm putting the decal on first before putting on the snorkel tube. The big gunner's lamp, it has a small 826 decal on it, and on the commander's cupola there's a small lamp that has 826 decal on it as well. So there's all the 4 decals in this, and we're going to be putting them onto the turret, which is just sitting out of shot, I believe. Here. But I'm going to prep the decals first. So these are Tamiya decals, but they're quite thick looking. I'm not sure if they're cartograph or not, but the ones I'm wanting are all the 826 ones, and I don't need the rest. The other decals are Czechoslovak and Polish Army. So quite simply, cutting the decals out from the backing paper. Don't need these. And I'll take these out as well. I'll keep the other decals because they might come in handy for something else. I'll never waste anything. So that's the decals there. You might not see them very well against the white background. And just to protect the other ones, I'll put them back in the greaseproof kind of paper, making sure, and back in a little plastic bag, and I'll keep them in case I need to use them on something else. If I have a problem with a decal that I need a number for, I'll keep them for future. Okay, right, so these in half again. Now this little 826 is tiny. Now you'll notice that there's wee numbers detailing which decal is which. You don't want that coming off in the water beside you, so I just take and snip these wee bits off. I'm trying to keep as much paper as I can around the 826, a small one, so that I can handle it. So that's that one. Don't want that bit on it. Don't want that bit on it. Okay, so there's one, which is the one for the right hand side of the turret. And here's the other wee small one. Again, I want as much paper around that for handling as I can get it. And the carpet monster has struck. Just pause for a second and I'll go wrestle the carpet monster and I'll be right back. Welcome back. I won my fight with the carpet monster. Haha. Right, I've got the decals. I took the opportunity to just cut them all out. So I've got the 2 larger ones and the 2 tiny ones, which I'm having fun picking up at the moment. Craft knife underneath. There we go. There it is. Just to let you see what I was wrestling with the carpet monster. It's tiny. Really is small. Yeah. Compared to my thumbnail. It's tiny. Right, okay, now I forgot to mention in the first part of the clip, another reason for clear coating this, apart from the chemicals reacting, is if you've got a matte surface and you put a decal on it, a matte surface is, if you put it under a microscope, it's very granular and it's up and down and jaggedy and really, really rough. And a decal finds it hard to stick into all these crevices in the matte paint, and you get an effect called silvering. And silvering is where there's either trapped air or the decal hasn't adhered properly. So that's the main. There's another main reason for clear coating first. It gives it a lovely smooth surface. Right, so let me get some water here into my tub. I'm going to be doing my decals in. We're going to start on the left side of the turret. So the decal we want for that is this one, 826. Okay, with the dot on it, and it's going to line up, roughly speaking, level with the bottom of the turret. The 6 is slightly in, and the dot starts just about in line with this part here. So I'll place it into the water. In fact, I'll bring this into shot and maybe be able to see it better. Place this into the water like so. Now notice I'm not fully immersing it in the water, I'm just letting the paper soak up the water that's there. And I'm going to get my micro set, which I have a dot of blue tack on the bottom, just to stop it, sorry, white tack, just to stop me spilling it. A little trick that Tony told me. Right, so just lightly on the brush, and on the area where the decal is going to go, I'm putting my microset solution. Now it's got quite a vinegary smell, this. Just over the area that the decal is going to go. There's a bit of excess coming off down the bottom there. I didn't really want it running everywhere, so I'm just going to take that off with the edge of that. Now, I'm going to take the decal out of the water and just let it sit for a minute. Yeah, so that's the area that I want to go on with the decal. I'm just checking that I'm not getting any reaction there with the microset. I'll soon find out if all my paint starts coming off. And have a little look at the decal. Has it started moving yet? Just gently with my fingers. Oh, the dot's separate. That's interesting. Okay, it's starting to move. I didn't realise that the actual dot part was separate from the 826. Right, with my tweezers and a cotton bud just dabbed in water there, I'm going to put the 826 roughly where I want it, which is, oh, big hair, don't want that, roughly about there. Some more of this microset on it. I'm just having a look to see it's level with the bottom. It's just in from the edge where I want it, which is looking good. With a cotton bud, just gently rolling on the decal to expel any air from it and mop up any excess on the decal. Just pressing ever so lightly on the decal. Now because these decals are thick, I'm going to go in with the salt. But for now, I'll let the microset do its work. Okay, and then the dot goes over here. So, with the same method again, now the dot goes slightly lower down and it's in line with the hook there. How's that looking? Bit too far to one side. Now this actual tank turret has a bit of a rough texture to it. And this solution, apart from helping it move the decal, helps conform the decal to this rough surface. And if you hear any noise in the background, that's just a wayward 12-year-old son of my partner, not getting his own way. Okay, so that's on. I'm just going to again take any air out, expelling it towards the outside. I can see the decal already is trying to conform to the surface, which isn't an even surface. I'm just giving it a wee helping hand here with a cotton bud. Now I'm going to go into the microsol in just a second. Now with the wet end of my cotton bud, I'm just dabbing here to help the decal conform into the surface which it is going on. Always better taking your time with this. You don't really want air bubbles and everything trapped underneath. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to get myself a bit of kitchen roll. Right, you can use two brushes for this, but I just wash it off in the water because the microset is going to help with the next decal anyway. Just wash off my brush. Okay, and then the microsol. Now when you put the microsol on, as it's a solvent, the decal may well wrinkle up. You want it to do that, it's stretching and conforming to the surface. So don't panic when this happens. So I'm into the microsol, and just where the decal is and around the edges where the transfer film is, I'm giving it a brush. Just making sure that everything's on nice and smooth. And then I'm going to let that do its stuff. And again with a round one, all the way around. Make sure there's no air behind any of this. Okay, wash that out in the water again, put the lid on so it doesn't spill. And again, just with my wet cotton bud or damp cotton bud, I'm just gently dabbing it. You don't want the mess too much of the decal once this solvent's on, or you'll destroy your decal. So I'm just pushing into the surfaces here, and this will wrinkle up and go all funny. Don't touch it, leave it now. If it doesn't set fully, I'll go back over it again with the micro set, back over it again with the micro solve. But that is that decal done. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but it's starting to wrinkle up in places. Don't touch it, don't try and smooth it out now, let it wrinkle up. Okay, now it looks awfully bright, a bright white on an old tank, but once this gets set and clear coated again, we're going to start going in with weathering effects, and the weathering effects will go on over the top of the decal, so the decal will be weathered at the same time as the tank. So that's all for just now. I'm just going to save you watching it all. I'll cut away and I'll do the rest of the decals, and I'll clear coat it. Depending how long this video is running into, I might just put it up as this is applying the decals, and then go and clear coat it, and then the next video we'll come back to it would be actually doing the oil pin wash, which might be another video all on its own. Okay, so Terry from Smooth Workshop, toodaloo for now, and we'll see you in the next section. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back. Terry from Smooth Workshop here. Right, we left off, I was applying decals. The decals are done. Nice straightforward little job. They're all settled in nicely on the left hand side. I did the same on the right hand side. Found out the dot was separate, and the snorkel tube holes are not interfered with by the decals, so they went on nice and easy. I also got a couple of wee 826s on the lamps there, so that's the decals done. To seal them in, I then went and clear coated just over the decals area. No need to clear coat the whole thing. So that's the decal side of it done. Next thing I'll do is I'll affix the snorkel tube and the main body of the tank, and the turret of the tank will get an oil pin wash. That will be in another video. So that's that. But I did manage to get some other things done. Ooh. Right, the commander figure. Last time you seen him, I had matte coated him, detail painted his face and his hands, painted his boots, his belt and his intercom thing. What I then did was, and I'll flash a picture up of this in a little minute so you can get a closer look. There's actually two pictures, one of them from the front, I'll just let you see that, and one of them from the back. Okay, so what I've done there is, his outfit was matte black, and to highlight his pockets and all the wrinkles and folds and everything, I'll just see if I can, I think this is a colour, German Grey XF63. I dry brushed all the raised edges to highlight all the nice variations on him, so you'll have seen that in the pictures, and that turned out really nice. I then decided to brush paint his hands, his face with clear coat, and I made a little pin wash up of a mixture of a brown and an ochre oil, just to pick up the details in between his fingers and some of the highlights on his face, just to give him some tonal variation. So I did that off camera. Now you only really see him for the waist up when he's sitting on the commander's cupola, but I got some mud pigment. In this case I used the MIGS one, the dry mud, and I applied it randomly to his boots, and I set it with some X20A, and as far as I'm concerned with the commander figure, that's him done. I'm not going to do anything else to him. I'm not going to clear coat him or varnish him or anything like that. He's at the colour I want him to be. So that's him done. I then got caught up in how am I going to do the unditching log. So you may have in the previous episode seen that I'd done a base coat of a reddish brown and a light colour on the old wood colour on the ends. I'm just going to flash up a picture just now. I used some of Ultimate's weathering wash, Ultimate Modern Products mud wash, and I just applied that liberally, and the photo that has popped up will show the effect that it gave, and it gave like a really nice kind of worn telegraph pole kind of look, which I assume these would have been made out of. But unfortunately, after clear coating, I lost most of that effect, so I went to plan B, and with, it must have been about 5 or 6 different colours of wood, starting from dark to lighter, dark browns and then lighter browns and new woods and all that sort of thing. I dry brushed it. I'll flick up a picture and show you the effect that you might not see in the camera here. Really quite pleased with that effect. So that's going to get matte coated now. It's going to stay off the tank till nearer the end, because the tank, once I've done all the weathering effects, it's going to get a matte coat to take all that shine back down. And then we'll do mud washes and things like that. But so I'm really chuffed with the ditching log. My drums now. In the last time you've seen my drums, I had undercoated them with a rust primer, and I'd sprayed 2 coats of hairspray on them. It was just bog standard hairspray. Sorry, I'd done the rust primer and then I dry brushed a lot of rust effects for different tones underneath. What I then did was, and I'll just flick up the picture just now, gave it a coat of the 4BO green all over, 2 light mist coats on the top. After that, I've got another picture that I'll flick up just in a moment. I just basically brushed over the whole of the tank with ordinary tap water, the oil drum, sorry, the fuel drum, and it all started wrinkling up as per this picture, and I just started chipping away with a soft brush to start with, on areas that I thought would be worn, so around the securing bolts on the straps, a few odd chips in here on the raised edges. I've got pictures that I'll flick up whilst I'm talking and yapping away here, so I've got a picture of the front end, how it ended up. I then went on towards the rear end, and I chipped it a bit more heavily because although I'm not going to weather the tank to this degree of rust, these tanks go into a fuel depot, they pick up the fuel drums, and they've been lying there for a while, and they're getting lifted up by the guys onto the tanks when they go to refuel. I'm imagining the parts that come in contact with the tank whilst they're lifting them up are going to get a bit more battered and bruised than the rest of the drum. So that's why I've weathered that a bit more heavily. And I'll try and flick through a couple of more images. I think I've got one at the back there. And then again on the ends, I'm concentrating more on the edges where the water would collect whilst the drums were sitting upright, and also when they're on the tank, where the water would collect on the bottom. So I've got a couple of pictures of the ends that I'll flick up, and it's given me a really nice effect. So I've done both drums the same, and all I'm going to do with them now is, and there's the other one, yeah, in a similar state, more weathering on the back than the front. I'm just going to matte coat them, and where the actual filler cap nozzle is on the drums, I'm going to add an effect of spilled fuel with some oils, just line it in along the crease and around the cap. So that's the drums done. I've just got to flat coat them, and I'll flat coat them at the same time as the log. And the anti-aircraft gun. I decided to just do this just now because I'm going to weather it at the same time as the rest of the main tank. So the gunmetal didn't give me the colour that I wanted, so I sprayed it all with a coat of Tamiya's X18 semi-gloss black, and I detail painted all the parts that are supposed to be Russian 4BO green. I did that by hand. I then, sorry, that was Facebook pinging there. I then used MIG's steel colour, which I'm actually quite impressed with. That's this stuff, MIG metal acrylic colour, and it's a steel colour. Dry brushed like all the parts that would come into contact and take it back possibly to the bare metal along all these ridges, and one parts on the gears and the handle where it's getting handled all the time. I did the reddish brown on the wooden handles. I'm going to leave that there. It looks fine to me. Just a wee bit of light dry brushing with the steel, and I detail painted in a wee red star and the wee red star on the other side of that. So that's just got to get a wee clear coat on it, and it will get a pin wash at the same time as the rest of the tank. I've got a couple of pictures to flash up of this. There's a close-up one of it sitting at about this angle, and I've got another picture with it sitting with the back angle of it, and that's where I've got to. So again, I'm playing this by ear. That's all I've done in this particular stage of the video. I did coat the tracks with the dark tracks acrylic, which is basically exactly the same colour as the Rust Tracks primer, or the Tracks primer, so that was a pointless effort. So in the next video I'm going to give them an acrylic wash of a dark rusty colour, and then do some dry brushing on it with some steel, and then it's just all the different washes on the main part of the tank. So that's where I've got to. That's just a wee quick update. In the next video we might eventually get to the oil pin wash, or it may be me detailing the tracks. Haven't quite decided as yet. It's quite a fluid, evolving process this, but I'm definitely really getting cracked on the build, and a few parts I was a bit worried about, like the hairspray method that I hadn't done before. My drums has come out lovely, and my ditching log, tried a few different things on it, trial and error, and the dry brushing seems to have brought it up fine. So this is Terry from Smooth's Workshop. Until the next episode, I haven't decided what's in it yet. This is the build video number 7 in my series of my Russian T-55A tank going into the International Scale Modelers Forum from Russia with Love build. So until the next episode, take care, see you later, bye.